Hi Culture Crew, it's Jean and welcome back to Culture Colosseum. Well, today we're going to be talking about the holiday season. Specifically, we're going to be talking about everyone's fan favorite, jelly old St. Nicholas. I want to talk to you guys about who St. Nicholas is and how he is still so popular in our media and how he goes by the name Santa Claus. I mean, how did this iconic saintly figure become this jolly old man who jumps down chimneys and gives gifts to good little boys and girls and children all over the world in one night? It's an interesting transition from this saintly, priestly figure to this jolly man who flies around the world in a sleigh with a bunch of reindeer. You can see how that's a little bit different. But let's dive into it and talk about who St. Nicholas was and why his influence is still so strong today. First thing is first, though, make sure you are following us here on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. We're very active there. At Culture Colosseum and at Creator Source Studios. Without further ado, let's talk about history. So, St. Nicholas. Well, who is he? Where'd he come from? He actually was born in the year 280 Common Era in a place known as Patara, Lycia, which is now known as modern-day Turkey. And he was born here. His parents died when he was very young. He didn't actually really know them that well, but they were quite wealthy, and they did leave him a large inheritance. So he was able to use that inheritance to travel around the modern-day Turkey and around the surrounding areas and perform miracles. And he would give gifts to people, especially monetary gifts to those in need. He would help the poor and those who were sick, and he used his wealth generally to assist others who were in need. He became a devout Christian very young, and he did all his deeds in the name of Christianity, which led him to be a saint. He served as a bishop in a town known as Myra, which is modern-day Demre, which is also a town in Turkey. And he would travel around again performing these miracles, healing sick people. There's a couple that are really commonly known. Two specific ones are he met these three daughters and this father who was too poor to pay for his daughters' dowries. And he was worried, they can't get married, I'm going to have to sell them off, they're going to have to go, I'm going to have to sell my children. And St. Nicholas says, I hear you. Don't worry. I have you covered. I gotcha. He began to leave monetary presents in the man's house so that he could pay for his daughter's dowry, so that both the daughters and the father would be happy and satisfied with their life and nobody would have to get sold. The next most common story associated with St. Nicholas is when he saved 3 men from execution. So he met 3 male prisoners and discovered that they were put in jail for no reason. They were falsely imprisoned. And he set about to prove their innocence. So he did just that. And he got them freed. They weren't executed. They were freed. And their sentences and convictions were all cleared because they were falsely imprisoned. So those were just 2 big things that he did. He actually did a lot, such as going to heal people who were sick. And he was said to have these healing powers and gifting others. And he would give his wealth freely to those who needed it. So he was seen as this gift-giving, iconic, miracle-working figure who quickly became famous around the whole region. People knew his name. People knew of St. Nicholas. But, okay, he's this saintly figure walking around, giving people money, freeing falsely imprisoned people. How the heck did he become Santa Claus? How did that transition to modern-day Santa Claus? Great question. I also asked that. Well, after his death on December 6th, in the year of 343 Common Era, so it was said he died on December 6th, 343 Common Era, which is now a holiday in many places. We'll get to it. But after his death, he had passed away being known as this miracle-working bishop who just cared for the people and cared for his deity and preached Christianity, and he was dubbed a saint. He was regarded far and wide for his work, and became the patron saint of protecting children and sailors. Pretty different. I like to think that, like, the other things were taken, and he just, like, was like, children? Great. And no, there's nothing else associated with this. Sailors. So he became the saint protector of children and sailors. Pretty funny because of how different they are, but you can see the deep associations with Saint Nicholas when it comes to gift giving. Obviously, modern day Santa, gift giver. So he was a very popular saint up until the Reformation. So from the time of Saint Nicholas's death to around the 1500s, he was really popular. And at this time the Reformation hit, people kind of changed their thoughts and beliefs. He became less popular, but that does not mean that he didn't have a lot of celebration and worship still, especially in Holland. In Holland, the Dutch actually began celebrating St. Nicholas Day, or the St. Nicholas Feast Day, on December 6th to honor his death, and it's celebrated very similar to kind of like how people celebrate Christmas. Children would, instead of stockings, they would put out shoes by the door, and then on the night of December 5th, and then when they would wake up on December 6th, they would come down and find these gifts, these presents from St. Nicholas. Super exciting, and a little weird that this, like, ghost is leaving you gifts, but, you know, don't question it. But, yes, so they would come down and receive these gifts, and there would be a big feast, all honoring the gifts of St. Nicholas, and the feast is a gift from the saint. So that holiday actually continues to today, and it's generally celebrated on December 6th, but in some places it's celebrated on December 16th because of a calendar shift. Interesting. Right, so that's pretty much in Holland. I mean, how did that come here? Well, in the 1700s, Dutch immigrants actually brought this idea of Saint Nicholas. So Saint Nicholas, or Sinterklaas, became the talk of gossip, and very quickly, historically wise, was translated Sinterklaas to Santa Claus. So, Santa Claus! Boom! That's how the name came. And then, you know, he was this kind of like bishop. He wasn't this perky man in a red suit, but after the 1820s, a man named Clement Clark Moore wrote a poem depicting Santa Claus the way we see him today. And that's how the translation from this bishop to modern day Santa Claus occurred. So that's how we see Santa today. He's associated with being a jolly, hefty white man in a red suit with white fur trim, and he brings gifts to good little boys and girls and children around the world. So, wow, if I missed anything from this crazy tale, let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because we have so much different content here and we'd be happy to share it with you. Also, make sure you answer the question of the day either in the comments down below or over on our Instagram. You should check out our Instagram. We have so much like fun little questions there. But, okay. So the question of the day, speaking of miracles, if you could perform any miracle, what miracle would you perform? Honestly, I'm going to say the water to wine. I'll take that one. I'll do that one. But let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you guys. Once again, I'm Jean. This is Culture Colosseum, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Happy holidays.